Previously on ARB's 50-year adventures. Hey everyone, you are back watching ARB's 50-year anniversary series where we are tackling the 5 spots our community nominated as the best spots around Australia. Where we are, this one's pretty special. Welcome to Cape York, one of Australia's last true frontiers. We're right up in the far north of Queensland where the roads are rough, the landscapes are wild, and every track tells a story. Over the next few days, we'll be tackling some of the most iconic four-wheel drive routes in the country, exploring remote communities, crossing many rivers, and capturing the raw beauty of this incredible place. On this adventure, we're pleased to introduce Gary Woodhead from ARB Jindalee in the TJ Wrangler. Gary and his family are long-standing members of the ARB community. A passionate car enthusiast, Gary has a soft spot for Jeeps. His first Cape York trip was completed many years ago in a TJ Wrangler just like this one. Scott Jennings from ARB Caloundra and North Lakes in the 100 series. Scott and his wife Karen have spent 20 years owning and operating multiple ARB stores on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Stu Fuchs, product manager for Old Man Emu Suspension. Stu was the head engineer of Old Man Emu for the last 19 years, recently getting off the tools and into a product manager role. Scott Brady is a journalist with a long history with ARB. He co-owns Overland Collective, which runs well-known magazine Overland Journal among other media outlets. He's come all the way from the US to tick off that bucket list trip of doing Cape York. Up front in the 300 series, our General Manager of Sales, Lachlan Brosnan and Steve McLean from ARB. And there's Lockie Campbell and I from the ARB marketing team in the Ranger. This here hitch has been given to us from the team that did the Flinders Rangers, and I am sure there is still sand in here from the amount of recoveries they did. I'll keep it handy because I am sure we're going to need it. Let's do Cape York. We grabbed the last of our supplies, packed the cars, and had a last-minute briefing at ARB Cairns, getting ready to head north.
Yeah, copy everyone. We're just heading out of Cairns up the coast road, past Ellis Beach, and then we'll get in through the Daintree rainforest, and pretty shortly we'll have the Daintree cable ferry crossing.
When you disembark from the Daintree ferry, it'll feel like you were transported to another place. The rainforest engulfs the road in a picture of green. If you're lucky, you might get the chance to see the prehistoric-looking cassowary. Bloomfield Track, officially the Cape Tribulation Bloomfield Road, is a scenic but challenging route connecting Cape Tribulation to Cooktown. It's four-wheel drive only, offering an incredibly steep climb and natural creek crossings. We took a break at Archer River Bridge for the team to make some lunch and have a coffee.
Just backing off here, there's a little bit of dust on the road, and a couple of 100 metres up here we'll turn left into the Lions Den Hotel.
So Lachlan, we are out here with some really cool trucks, but we've also got these two legends. Tell me all about them.
Yeah, so as part of our 50-year celebration, we are highlighting the 5 decades of ARB. And on each of our 5 trips, we're heroing those decades. This trip is 95 to 05.
What a good decade.
Both of these were legends of that period.
You know, and the TJ was a legend in America. This is one of the first truly capable rock crawling platforms from Jeep. Coil sprung. In this case, we've got all the ARB gear. So now let's have a chat with the owner, Gary, about the specs on this TJ. Now I've got a love for Jeeps myself, and I had a 2000 TJ. So let's start from the front to the back and talk about all the accessories that you fitted for Cape York.
The first time I did Cape York was 20 odd years ago in a TJ.
Amazing.
So this is a nostalgic run for me to be able to do it again. To make sure that we could do Cape York in the TJ, we fitted an ARB bull bar, a 12,000 pound worn winch, a set of solar spotlights. All our communications are through a GME UHF radio.
Yeah, you've done a lot to make this more capable. What did you put in there to keep this Jeep locked up?
We just straight up ARB air lockers, and we ran some 4.1 gear ratios, which was a big change from the 3.27. So when you're off-road, it has a lot of low range in it, and you can do things a lot slower and a lot more controlled.
So what did you do to the suspension to make it suitable for a long trip like this?
We are running all OME suspension in this car. OME coils, OME nitrocharger shocks, and it's the perfect package for the setup of the TJ suspension.
And we're going to switch over to what I believe is your arch nemesis, the 100 series.
He'll need recovering later on, don't you worry about that.
Well, I know that we are both Toyota nuts. These two have just thrown a pretty big challenge out there.
I'm still here.
Challenge accepted.
Tell us about the 100 series.
Well, look, Lockie, I chose this vehicle intentionally, you know. It's ARB's 50th year. We joined ARB 22 years ago, and I had this car. And seriously, I had to do it again.
Tell me a bit more about what you've done to the 100.
Look, 1.8 set motor, no computer, coil spring, live axle, very capable vehicle in every way. And then all we had to do was add our ARB gear to it, the perfect package. Cape York, corrugations, ruts, dips, all sorts of stuff. So what we've gone with BP-51's bypass suspension technology. And the reason for that is when you are loaded at Cape York, you hit some of those dips real hard, that's when the bypass technology will save you.
So comfortable on the PDR, good articulation on the OTT.
Absolutely.
And I know we were confident about the 100 series, but I do notice a worn winch in the front of it.
It's really important, but we'll also need to pull that Jeep out.
We will need to pull the Jeep out, or along, or for the rest of the trip.
That's
one
right.
of the two.
We've talked suspension, air lockers, you know, we put some tyres, some decent tyres on it. GME radio. We've got the communications. We need to be able to talk to the other cars as we're driving along, make sure we can call vehicles through. There's a truck coming, all that sort of stuff. Under the bonnet, we also have our new brushless compressor, so we can clean our air cleaner when we're up there.
It's almost like you guys have done this before, because for me, I say that the mandatories for Cape York are a good suspension system, a snorkel both for the dust and the water, really good communication to talk to those around you, and then we build on it from there. I think this is going to be a really exciting trip. We've got some great cars, we've got some great mates. Let's go and see if we can get this Jeep out of trouble. Any trip to Cape York should always start at the famous Lions Den Hotel. Come with me and check it out, but make sure you say good day to me little mate on the way in. Hey, before we go any further, I think we need to grab a cold beer. Thank you. Hey, I think that's cheers.
Up with the sun, we packed up camp, eager to see what the day holds.
We'll just roll out of here, out of the Lions Den, just at the back car, and make sure that you grab that gate on the way out. It's a beautiful scenic drive, this one, lovely green rolling fields, and we'll head into Cooktown, grab ourselves a coffee and a pie.
One of the last spots of civilization before we head into Cape York is Cooktown. We've been for a quick lap around town, grabbed a pie, a coffee, and now we're fueling our cars. Every single one of these cars has a long-range tank fitted to it, which means we have enough fuel to get where we want to go safely, but also explore some off-tracks on the side.
Cape York is sprinkled with water features that make for many stunning photo opportunities, just like the beautiful Isabella Falls. crossing is a bit of fun, ready to test your skill level with an interesting curve under the croc-infested water. We headed across and stopped for a spot of lunch before continuing our journey.
The dust up here in Cape York is pretty damn good. Check this out.
As we drove further north, the landscape changes and becomes more barren, with enormous anthill structures beginning to appear on the roadside. We arrived at Musgrave Roadhouse for another night of regional hospitality. This roadhouse offers accommodation, camping, food and fuel, so we called it home for the second night of the trip. With LB leading the charge, the motto is no wasted sunlight, so we are up early, packing up camp and heading up the PDR towards Bramwell station.
Always check your wheel nuts, you just never know. On a corrugated road, you won't hear the noise of a wheel coming loose. I've had it happen.
Oh, good morning everyone. Hopefully we're feeling fresh. We are heading north up the Peninsula Development Road. We'll wind our way through Cowan, Archer River before finally landing at Bramwell Station tonight, where we'll have dinner and a show. Sit back, enjoy, drive safe, keep your headlights on and yell out if I can be of service.
I got a big road train heading towards me, fair chunk of dust.
Copy, Gary. Did you get that, mate? We're just going to pull down a bit.
Yeah, copy, mate. I've got a spot right here. I might just peel off and wait for him to clear.
It's a white out, so everyone needs to have their lights on, that for sure.
We've just arrived here on the PDR in Cape York, potentially one of the most corrugated roads in this region. One of the great things about BP-51 is its adjustability, both compression and rebound. To increase the plushness, we're going to have a little tweak on the adjusters. Pull back the compression and rebound a little bit just to give us a bit more comfort over this type of road terrain. So we've come back from 7 on compression to 5, and that should just allow the suspension to move a little easier, resulting in a bit more plushness and a bit more comfort for those inside.
Well, hey, you two are lucky that I love talking to you because we've just actually got into a really corrugated section here. I'm just going to maintain speed so I stay up on top of them. Scotty, what's your best tip for corrugations for someone that may not have seen them before?
Suspension and tyre pressure is everything. Right now, if you can get air out of those tyres safely and run on good suspension, you've got half the battle won. I tell you what, I'm happy I'm on these BPs.
We're not far out of Archer River Roadhouse, and I know I've been talking it up, so I'm excited. If you guys all want to pull up and fuel up, so we got plenty of fuel for the next stint, I'm going straight into the counter to order 10 Archer River burgers.
If they're anything like I remember, then it's going to be a good lunch.
Last one in, shout for fuel. We've filled up the cars with fuel, now it's time to fill us up with fuel. So we're going to head inside for a feast for lunch. At any one of these roadhouses on the way to Cape York, you'll find fuel, accommodation, camping, and great food. Make sure you stop and check them out. You can drive past a lot of things in Cape York, but not an Archer River burger. Oh, that is good.
The most important thing about travelling in a convoy, make sure you get that group shot.
Just heading up to Bramwell Station now.
Yeah, looking forward to good feed and some good music.
Yeah, you need to book for it. I'm glad you did.
It's always a great spot, Bramwell, and get a good night's sleep before you hit the OTT the next day.
Arriving at Bramwell station, the team set up camp for the evening while a couple of the vehicles went to scout out Palm Creek. What could go wrong?
It's time for low range and a good bit of fun.
Nothing like preparation that we all do, but the nerves are still there, I can tell you.
So we arrived at Bramwell Station this afternoon, and while some set up camp, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to go and do a bit of a recce on Palm Creek, which is the first crossing just on the Telegraph Track. Hey, probably a good thing we did it this afternoon because you can never be too prepared in Cape York. We've actually had an incident where the fan has gone into the radiator in the 100 series and it's dropped its water. So what we're doing now, we're pulling it out, we've got tools, we've got spares, we're going to do our best to do some bush mechanics work tonight and see if we can get this car ready to hit the tracks in the morning. So what we've done, so the water runs through the fins this way. So we've, just with a set of needle nose pliers, we've cleaned out as much as we can, crimped them off to see if we can limit the water. It's always good to have a little bit of epoxy putty with you. This stuff hardens like metal. So we're going to put this on where we think the holes are, fill it with stop leak and some water and hope for the best. All right, let's just leave that. Let's go and have some tea.
Well, Scotty, we are here, the entrance to the Old Telegraph Track. We worked on the old girl till 1 a.m. Could be touch and go. What do you think?
We'll have a go at it.
Why not?
What could go wrong?
So whilst we were working on the 100 series last night, we're really lucky that the rest of the crew went round to make sure the vehicles were prepped. Of course, we've made sure that our recovery gear is nice and accessible and easy to get to. It's one of the things that people overlook so simply is how hard it is to get to recovery gear during a recovery. Another really important one when travelling in convoy is making sure that you just have a look in your back seat, make sure there's no missiles in there or anything that could move around the cab.
It's a nice cool sort of drizzly day as well, which is unusual for Cape York.
Waiting for a mate. Anyway, you want to pull the winch out for us?
Each of the big obstacles we encountered on the OTT get carefully scoped out by the team to ensure we're picking the best lines and getting through as safely as possible with a plan for recovery if it's needed. Vehicles on this trip have a different wheelbase and configuration, meaning that each vehicle faces a different challenge on some of these tight, tall obstacles. It's an important reminder that each water crossing should be handled with precaution, A lot of the drop-ins are quite steep and you are likely to cause damage in this scenario.
Righto, well, we're running with a broken fan, I'm afraid. We thought we were right going slow enough. It's another piece of fan's come off and it's hit the radiator. We're just trying to crimp off some of the core and we'll put some more stop leak in it and see how we go.
If I was the doctor, I would say I've just clamped the artery. What I'm doing, you would think I'm making a mess. I'm actually just clearing away some of the heat-soaked fins either side of the radiator core so I can crimp it. Had a little pinhole in it, so we've literally just crimped it shut because it's only soft aluminium. We'll throw a bit more stop leak in it and just hope like hell that we get somewhere.
Other than all the water crossings, you'll also encounter hundreds of ruts caused by the intense weather patterns in this area. The importance of extra clearance and suspension that allows for good articulation will help get you through. To preserve the 100 series radiator as much as possible, SJ needed to tie off the fan for the deeper water crossings.
We're just dropping into the entry of Brady Creek. Brady Creek is pretty famously photographed. It's a beautiful running water with a rocky base. But what it can do is catch you out by surprise, because it's always worth walking this one because there's some big holes. It's solid rock bottom. And that's it, across Brady Creek. Zero effort.
Hey, lunch is served.
Never one to shy away from a tough spot. This water hole was poked, and while it was a bit soft, we didn't think it would be a problem. Lo and behold, the 300 got stuck almost immediately. Gary jumped in to assist with the recovery. Cockatoo Creek crossing levels up from what we have seen so far. A steep, muddy descent into the flowing river with a deep hole in the middle of the riverbed. After walking at first, we hugged the bank, found a safe crossing point and headed through. And would you look at that? New challenges are always right around the corner.
Righto, so what we've got going on here is the big rigs come over a little jump up here in the sand. They didn't have quite enough go to get the trailer past. So what's happened is the trailer is stuck at the jump up and now he's getting bogged. So what we're going to do is roll this back up a little bit, put the treads under there where we know we can get a little bit of movement and momentum, see if we can get some traction at the same time and then hit it.
Due to the 300 being stuck on the bypass track, we had to send a couple of vehicles up the deeply rutted and soft main track to assist with recoveries at the top. This proved a challenge as the Jeep then got stuck with a couple of bystanders helping out with some treads for the recovery.
We're going to reposition the line because the line was starting to touch the earthen berm there, which can cause the line to snap. The Dyneema is incredibly strong, but if it was to come in contact with like a sharp edge like this under full load, we'll just snap the line.
After winching up the hardest section, all that was required was a light recovery using a snatch strap. challenging sections on the OTT are tight and twisty. Some careful navigation allows us all to get through. After a big day on the OTT, we pull into camp at Eliot Falls after dark. LB and SJ cooked up a feast with surf and turf on the menu and a happy, quiet crew to end the day. As we got in late the night before, we weren't leaving without checking out the falls themselves, so we headed down and got a few quick snaps before jumping back on the OTT for another day of water crossings and recoveries. With many of the obstacles on this track, there are multiple options you can choose, each with varying levels of challenges. Great driving, LB. Woo!
Bit of first gear and low range.
We're in Cape York. Everyone thinks about protection. We put bull bars on, we put rear bars on, side steps. That's protection. Now what we're going to talk about here is under vehicle protection, right? UVP for short. Many people don't think of that. We want to think about protecting the vitals, control arms, sump, transfer case. Those are really, really important things, especially when we're remote. You can't get spare parts. You don't want to be stuck in the middle of nowhere and not be able to get a part. We're going to watch this Ranger come through and perform. Oh, there you go, look at that. That head on the front could have been a real problem, except for UVP.
As we crossed Sam Creek, the exit had a huge rut. Engaging lockers made things easy.
Keep on that angle, keep your way from the bank a bit and try and make sure the camper doesn't tuck in too soon.
Mistake Creek proved to be a real adventure with a tough, steep entry and then a tight squeeze exit. We certainly tested the exoskeleton on the camper. Cypress Creek is a bit of an iconic highlight. This rudimentary man-made log bridge tests the nerves. Just don't look down. One of the two most well-known crossings on the OTT is Logan's Creek, and it was certainly one to remember. A super steep entry immediately onto oozing white clay made it difficult for cars to get traction. The length of the 300 made it difficult to descend, pushing it straight into the mud, requiring a recovery. While it was hooked up, we towed it across to be safe.
Go.
That's fun.
We decided to break there for lunch, and of course the rain started. The entrance into Nolan's, the other major river crossing on the OTT, was extremely rutted out, making for an interesting and bumpy ride.
We're at Nolan's now, and it's really soft sand, so we've gone really low on tyre pressures to make sure we can get it across. Hopefully no dramas at all.
In full preparation, we set up our recovery car ready to chase the vehicles if needed. With a pre-attached snatch on the drive vehicle, the two spotters are in the water ready to assist with connecting the shackle to the recovery car in a moment's notice.
Hey, that was great. Undefeated at Nolan's. I thought the 300 was going to be a little bit heavy, so we put a bit of momentum through. Next up, we've got Gary in the Jeep. It's pretty deep and that is pretty light, so we're worried that we're going to float it, so we're ready for recovery.
Wow, that was really fun. That was deep. It came all the way up to the windscreen. Cape York is an incredible playground. In fact, all of Australia is the place to visit. You can have these incredible deserts, jungle like this with deep water crossings. Come to Australia.
Right, Foxy, how you feeling?
Yeah, good mate.
We aired back up to comfortable driving pressures and moved on from Nolan's. As we got back onto the PDR, Gary was having dramas overheating, requiring a roadside pit stop. We nursed the Jeep up to camp at Jardine River Ferry, where we could properly have a look and assess the damage.
Alright, looks like the Jeep's done a water pump. Started pouring out coolant this afternoon, so we're just going to try and use some RTV silicon to bush mechanic it. You've got to have it in your toolbox. We've been talking to the local mechanic in Bamaga this afternoon. Ordered the parts for us from a supplier in Cairns. We're just going to pull on some friendships in Cairns to get the parts picked up and dropped off to Skytrans at the airport in the morning, and hopefully they can deliver it on one of their 3 flights tomorrow.
I need a drink at the end of the day. All I've done is watch my temperature gauge for 2 days. But I tell you what, this 100 series is still going strong. We've just kept watching the water levels and making sure we were doing the right thing, and it is still killing it. We were going to get another radiator before we drive it home, but we're still here. I have come to the Cape 8 times. This is my 8th trip to the Cape, but every time there's been a reason I've never gone through the teletrack. So today was my first ever teletrack, and I drove Nolan's, and that's got to be the #1 thing. Very happy about that.
We closed out the day with another great feed and some well-earned rest for our weary heads after a massive adventure on the OTT. The ferry started operating at 7 a.m, so we were up and ready to be the first ones across. We are here at the Jardine River Roadhouse. We had a good night's sleep in the swags and we are about to get on the ferry and head straight to the tip.
I knew the Jardine River Ferry was specky, but I didn't know it was going to be VIP one-up service. The Jardine River Ferry is the only way to cross the Jardine River heading north. You can pre-purchase your tickets online, which makes it really simple and easy. You just drive on up when they wave to you and hand the ticket to one of their team members.
So Scotty, tell us a little bit about how it all started with ARB.
You know, after running my business for 20-something years, ARB show interest in what we were doing. When I decided to start Overland Journal, because of ARB agreeing to be in the magazine, that all these other companies started to follow suit. So it just really shows not only the care that ARB puts towards people that they believe in, but also how the rest of the industry views ARB as a thought leader, as a quality leader in the industry. In many ways, there was that small handful of people that really believed in us in the beginning that made all of that possible. Yeah. I have now been able to use Old Man Emu suspension on all 7 continents. In fact, I've circumnavigated the planet now 3 times, and in every single one of those circumnavigations, my life depended upon ARB equipment. Yeah. Whether it be compressors or suspension or locking differentials, our life is depending upon the equipment.
It's just got to work, doesn't it?
It has to work.
It just got to work. So this one also has our latest product in it, MT64. How have you found that?
I think it's the perfect damper for a Hilux, because this is a simple, honest vehicle that's going to run for as long as you care to own it. Yep. And I think that these MTs are the exact kind of product where they're going to continue to operate, they're going to continue to perform, they're not going to require frequent rebuilds, or it's not going to require a lot of adjustment. You're just going to be able to set it and forget it until it's time to change them out hundreds of thousands of kilometers later.
Rubber bushing, maintenance free, over-designed, engineered and overbuilt for what it has to do.
I'm just so grateful to be on this 50th anniversary trip and experience this absolutely stunning part of Australia. A really challenging track. Yeah. We got to have a lot of fun. We got to get stuck and pull some winch line.
We got some water up to the windscreen.
I had it up to the top of the windscreen. I mean, absolutely incredible part of Australia. And I cannot wait to see what ARB does over the next 50 years.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
We stopped to check out the DC3 Crash Site. Back in 1945, a plane crashed with 7 people on board. Sadly, no survivors. An incredible piece of history that's worth checking out. We fueled up the vehicles while some of the crew headed into Bamaga to pick up the 100 series radiator. We highly recommend stopping in at the Croc Tent on your way through to buy some souvenirs to help celebrate your trip.
Wow, what an incredible adventure with ARB here in Cape York. It has been such a joy to cross the Telegraph Track with such an incredible team and amazing vehicles. But soon I'm going to be doing a similar trip in the United States, and let's see how the 2 tracks compare. All right, so one of the things I really wanted to do while I was here in Australia is to check out the new Earth Camper. And this thing has completely exceeded my expectations. I cannot believe we got it all the way through the Telegraph Track. I was camping in it the last night and it was working perfectly. All the systems were working perfectly. I mean, what an incredible trailer. And it's so neat to see that now available from ARB. And another one that I really like is these new Mitts alloy trays. Tray campers and tray backs have become more and more popular in the United States because of the use of space, the flexibility that you get, the increased durability that you get from a tray back. So I really like the fact that I got a chance to use this product that's now going to be available in the US while I was in Australia. And I couldn't believe some of the hits that those trays took on that very difficult trail. So I think they're ready for the US adventures.
Here we are in Cape York, land of the long red corrugated road. What are corrugations? Well, they're these little waves in the road that make the tyres go up and down. The tyres have to run, they have to ride these waves in the road, and that generates the energy. It's the shock absorber's job to convert that motion into control and into plushness, and it does that by converting vertical up and down motion into heat and dissipating the heat out through the oil and the aluminium body of our latest shock absorber, the MT64. Imagine the punishment that the shock absorbers are going through hour after hour on this kind of surface. The MT64, by really dissipating that heat out, keeping the temperatures down, controls the car over those long periods of time on those longer journeys that you have to take, unfortunately, over corrugations to get to this wonderful part of the world up to the tip of Australia. So let's see how the MT64 handles this little section of corrugations. So how well did the Hilux with the MT64 ride over the peaks and troughs of these corrugations? Each time going up and down, pumping oil through the valving, converting that energy into heat in just the right amount that it's not too firm to be jarring and not too soft to be bouncing you everywhere, so that you're arriving to your destination refreshed and relaxed to take on the rest of your day without any fatigue.
Closer to the tip and the landscape changes again, going back to that heavy rainforest vibe.
You won't believe it, we've almost got valet parking right at the top. We might set up for some lunch and just wait for the tide to run out a little bit. You can walk up over the rocky headland, or if you wait for the right tide, you can take a very leisurely walk around the beach, and I know what option I'm keen for.
We've just pulled up here at the very tip of Australia, and before we head up to take our photo, we thought we'd just take a minute to sit down, reflect on the trip, to think about why we're on these trips and why we're doing them, and that is because in 1975, 50 years ago, Anthony Ronald Brown, ARB, did this trip, the very trip we've done in the Series 1 Land Rover. He learned a lot from that trip and went back to his parents' garage in Ringwood and started to make what became ARB 4x4 accessories, and now allows people all over the world to do what we do. And I know it's really special for me that I can be part of this journey and be here with you guys.
It's absolutely inspiring, you know. Everything that, whenever I deliver that speech to my staff and people I know, it always makes me feel a little bit in here, you know. I just love our life, I love what we do.
Thinking of, you know, what we've done, any reflections?
Preparation is everything, and it doesn't matter how much you prep, you get yourself ready and replace all the bits and pieces. You never know what's going to happen, and we have to fix things along the way.
We had a great mix of vehicles on this trip. We built the 300 series chopped and extended vehicle to do these 5 trips, and I had a ball for 2 days. That car did everything we asked of it. And the little, I was calling him a Labrador, the little dog that followed me everywhere, the Earth Camper, it just absolutely went everywhere. And went on too many times to count, but that drop into Logan's where it was on that massive angle, like I actually just looked forward because Gary said to me, you don't want to look back.
I mean, that was a really technical track. It was impressive to me how challenging it was. The water was very deep. So it was all the adventure that I had hoped for, doing the Telegraph Track and coming up to Cape York.
Yeah.
You know, that little Jeep did so great on this trip. It was so fun to watch it articulate through the terrain. I mean, that water crossing at Nolan's was over the top. I mean, you were floating, literally like a boat, floating across.
I needed to bring my 9 horsepower outboard.
That would have made all the difference.
These guys pulled you.
Yeah.
They pulled you in.
Yeah. That was a highlight of the trip.
Oh, that was just fantastic though. Look, to see every one of those cars drive Nolan's, that was just That's a high five moment.
Especially the big girl. The big girl on the camper that just drove it without even...
Not even an issue.
We really didn't need the car on the other side, but we had it there anyway, just in case for everybody.
It's a common question, whether you're on social media or in one of our ARB stores. You know, people come in and they say, what do I need to go to Cape York? And absolutely, you do not need to build this car behind me, right? It's great if you do, and you can, but you just need those bare essentials. Really unfortunate, just after we went through Nolan's, there was a Ford Ranger there with a bloke and his couple of sons. He drove in there and he hydraulicked his engine. Now, it's probably a $15,000 or a $20,000 repair, and we recovered him out. And the first thing that we noticed was he didn't have a snorkel. And he said straight away, geez, that $1,000 for a snorkel is looking good now. I wish I'd done that.
Exactly.
A good set of recovery gear, a good suspension and a snorkel are three of the musts, right? You just need those things. And then the rest we can just build on, and it'll just make your trip more comfortable, more safe. Don't be afraid to ask some questions.
All right, guys, let's finish up this yarn. Let's go up there, get our photo and move on. It has been an incredible trip. We made it. We made it all the way to the tip of Cape York. We have water in places one should never have water, but we have crossed rivers, we have swum in swimming holes, and we've stopped at some awesome stations, experiencing some of the best regional hospitality in the area. From here, we are heading off for our final night at camp up at Punsand Bay. We made it! Yeah! Like many other adventurers up here, final night at camp doesn't stop the action. We're still knee deep in fixing the 100 series and then the Jeep so we can all make it back home again. These are the memories that stay with you long after the water in the footwell has dried. To top off a great trip, we got to catch Game 2 of State of Origin at the pub with a rowdy bunch of revellers, and boy, what a close game in the end. Next up, we have our first international trip of the series. We're heading over to Africa. We're going to join our South African distributor 4x4 Mega World for a trip through the Botswana countryside. We're expecting sandy tracks, river crossings and plenty of wildlife. Stay tuned for the next edition of ARB's 50th anniversary series. Over to you, Africa.